Let's get a broad perspective from Mahesh Jethmalan. He always liked the way he puts things in a macro perspective, law, geopolitics, and politics. Mahesh, this is not the first time Adani is being targeted. Earlier it was Hindenburg, and now it is the indictment by this court in New York. Uh, Give me your broad perspective. What is going on here? It is not just a company called Adani Green at play here. Something bigger is happening. What's happening? Can you unmute yourself, Mahesh? Thank you.
Sorry. I've had a very brief look at the indictment and the judge's order. It's a 54-page. But I find that it's a completely disproportionate arrest warrant order, given the fact that it's very thin on evidence and about the details about who's being bribed. Neither do we know who the officials bribed are, except we know it's some Solar Energy Power Corporation. Apparently, officials of that company have been bribed. But the modus operandi of the bribe, the quantum of the bribe, 2,000 clause is just bandied about. So I really think this is a hatchet job. This is not a judicial order. This is a hatchet job. And for anybody, and particularly the leader of the opposition, somebody who has the title of leader of the opposition country, I think he has surrendered blindly his satisfaction. Obviously, he's biased against Adani, as we've known from his track record. But obviously, somebody who, as usual, depends on foreign sources to attack an Indian multinational who is doing extremely well. So this man is just hell-bent, because I think he's become desperate. He's getting frustrated because he's losing election after election, and he's clutching onto straw like a desperate falling man.
Mm-hmm. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to also point out to you, the fact here is that the former US ambassador recently to Bangladesh, he left giving some excuse that there is unrest. Then he has joined a major American energy firm as a strategic advisor with a focus on Bangladesh. This company has huge interests in expanding the energy base in Bangladesh, and Adani is saying to Muhammad Yunus in Bangladesh, you're not paying my bills, I'm pulling back. So question here is there major, big money involved here with an American company getting into the power sector in Bangladesh? Adani squeezing the Bangladeshis because of his unpaid bills issue, and the Indian government not helping the Americans at all, and not helping Muhammad Yunus either.
Well, obviously that's one angle, right? There's no doubt that the Americans probably do have an interest in taking over the power supply business in Bangladesh, right? And they find that, that's one of the reasons why they may even have fan change of regime and fan anti-Hinduism over there. So, it's one way of controlling. It's one way of controlling a state that, you can switch off the power supply anytime you want. And that may be one of the motives, but there are geopolitical motives. I think this is Soros in play again. Remember,
how is Soros in play here? How is Soros in play here? I'm very interested in that, because Donald Trump has said, I'm going to go after Soros. The problem with Donald Trump also, viewers, I think, is he can't keep his thoughts to himself. He reveals his intentions much before he's going to do it. So Soros would be probably, the whole Soros family would be the most nervous group in America now, right?
Yes, absolutely. And a very strong motive for them.
What is their link to Hindenburg, to Adani, and all that? Because Soros hates Adani, Soros hates Modi, and Trump hates Soros. So do you see these connections somewhere?
Well, there's been a flurry of activity in judicial appointments in Biden's last few days as president. And most of these appointments are left-leaning, woke, Soros tainted. The judge who himself has issued this order, right? There's credible evidence that he's been with Alex Soros. Alex Soros has, promoted him in some way. he's the Attorney General who actually of the district in New York concerned himself has pushed this man, and the Attorney General himself is closely associated with Alex Soros. It's all over the social media. It's been exposed.
Yeah.
And then, the ideological counterparts, they're not really ideologically linked, but the ideological counterparts in action, as you can see in India, obviously they're not doing it because ideology matters to them. They're probably just paid agents. Please see the entire ecosystem. What is Soros's main theory? Open society. He wants borderless countries, right? Who are the people in this country who are opposing CAA? Who are the people in this country who every time approach the Supreme Court for settlement of Rohingya refugees in India? It's the same thing in America. And the ideological counterparts, it's the less liberal lobby headed by the Congress party. They, for some reason, always want to open our borders to elements who don't really belong here. I mean, they're just refugees. They're refugees of a battle between two other countries, right? For instance, Bangladesh and Burma, right? But somehow or the other, there is a left-leaning cabal in this country which wants India to be swept by immigration, to reduce, as it were, to change the complexion, the complexion of the major ethnic community in this country, or religious ethnic community. There's a design in all this.
No, I think there is a design here, and the design is, I am not one to say, Mahesh, that Adani represents India's interests, but India's interests are linked with various projects with which the Adanis are involved. And this is not just India, any major country works through its major industrial groups when it goes to expanding its strategic interests. Anyway, Mahesh, you're setting this up beautifully as usual for my debate. Where is this going to end? I mean, do you think this, do you think they can go and turn the charge, the indictment into, close up the case? How long will it last? You got family members, you got Gautam Adani's nephew involved here. Could this get ugly? The judge is not, is a Soros man, I'm told, or connected to Soros. How ugly can this get?
Certainly there will be attempt, but there are two limiting factors. This act is the act of it's an act of imperial overstretch, actually, by a regime that's, now on its last gasps, right? So it's desperate. It's obviously some kind of help to their, and it's happens just before Parliament, and it's picked up almost in sync at 4:15 in the morning. There's, that usual, it's, one after the other, continuous, incessant volley of attacks from different social media corners, all actually connected with each other, but pretending to be independent. So you create lots of noise on social media. And this is a standard tactic. So, this is a falling regime's last act of, favor before the parliamentary session in India, a last favor to its surrogates in this country.
Oh, Mahesh Jayapalani saying that the Congress party is a Democratic Party surrogate, headline of the moment, without his saying it in as many words. Mahesh Jayapalani, thank you very much. We're tracking this story very, very closely. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember, we have an election result coming on Saturday. You have to be watching it live only and only here on the Republic Media Network. Thank you, Mahesh.